related.
Sorry.
Hello. Just like that, we are back. Outkick 360 across the Outkick network, alongside Chad Withrow and Paul Kuharski. I'm Jonathan Hutton. Glad you're with us. The great crew on hand today: Lance Lee, Jakob Swanson, David Reed, the chairman of the board, Emma Notestein, making the show happen for us on social media. What is up, guys? A lot to discuss with one half of the Final Four set. We're going to preview the Elite Eight matchups coming up later tonight, and a 17-game NFL schedule, Tennessee Power Hour in an hour from now. A lot to get to.
It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day with plenty to discuss. People always ask me, is his real name Jakob when you intro the show? It's whatever you want it to be. That's what he told us on day one. It's actually Jacob, but he said, if you want to call me Jakob or Bath Salt Bandit or whatever you want to call me,
Bandit.
It all works. He responds to anything.
It's a beautiful name. He really is responsive.
That's what's great about him.
He's a very responsive man.
What's up,
And
Paul?
we're learning more and more about him. He's fascinating. I am well. There's too much Texas in the Final Four.
Yep.
Don't like that. Arkansas streakiness. Both of those games, I just want it to be close, want it to be close, want it to be close. So it's not close.
Well,
You're
even when
close
it
to
was-
66-60.
Yeah.
You come down and what do? This is where the game loses me. 66-60. They're in it. Just go down and get a good shot. Close it to 4. No, I got to
four.
jack up a bad 3. Then the other team comes down. They get a good 3. 69-60. Game's over.
I'm blanking on his name right now, but I was sending Hutton a text because we had betting interest on that game also. I was on one side with Arkansas. He was on the other, the winning side with Baylor. They covered by 1. I think it was a, 8-point line. They won by 9.
Yep.
Number 4 for Arkansas, I'm blanking on his name, but there were some bad shots taken when they had a chance to make it close, where he was going down and taking some awful shots. That was frustrating. Now, I will say, I thought Oregon State was buried in the first half of that game, and that was going to be a blowout.
Stopped watching.
And I checked out for a bit and came back and saw them come back and tie it. They banked in a 3
55-55
to tie it, and I'm thinking, if you're banking in a 3 to tie it and coming from 17 down at halftime to tie it up, this may be Oregon State's tournament to win it all, if that was the case. But credit Houston for sticking with it and bouncing back and winning that game. Houston's been very impressive. I continue to overlook them in almost every game. Paul, you sent the stat out that they have not played a single-digit seed in the tournament.
They're the
First
only
one ever to reach the Final Four.
team to
Yep.
not play a single-digit seed
Crazy.
in their path, ever.
In the history of the tournament.
Isn't that crazy? Here's my thing about threes, and I battle this. So we're talking about this. Like, I understand that shooting a certain percentage at 3 is more valuable than shooting a better percentage at 2. And in the course of the meat of the game, that's applicable. But then when you're down close, you can't accept 33% or 35% or 40% at 3. Because if you miss it, and you don't get the offensive board, you're done. That's the scenario I'm talking about at 66-60. You have to be 100% from 3 right there, or the game gets away from you. So you have to get a higher percentage shot and could guarantee that you make a shot in order to stay in the game. So 40% from 3 there does nothing for you if you're missing the 60%, right? Because the game's over. You have to extend the game, and the only way to extend the game is to make shots. And so you have to get a higher percentage. You have to get to the rim. And then I don't know if I'm talking about the same game or the other game. The kid drives to the basket and dribbles it out of bounds. I mean, those are precious, precious possessions there. And there just was
That was Oregon State.
Yeah, there's
late
just
in the
a
game.
carelessness in both of those games late with the shot selection and with the ball protection that made them both feel really disappointing to me when I'm desperate for close games. Not in the point spread variety, of course. But
Right. You want the drama of March Madness
Yes.
in the final 2 minutes of every game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and Houston's ability on the offensive glass was huge. When you talked about the percentage when you shoot a 3 of getting the offensive rebound, it felt like in the last 7 minutes of that Houston-Oregon State game, they were going to get every single offensive rebound in the game. It was impressive to watch.
The winning
them
teams
hit the glass.
in these games have been getting offensive rebounds like crazy. And I mean, it feels like defensive rebounds are a hopeless thing for losing teams down the stretch of some of these recent games that we've watched.
FanDuel.com/OK360 is the website to go check out the lines for tonight's matchups. You can also preview the Final Four matchup with the early lines out for Baylor and Houston, the matchup of Texas there. As you check out the lines, you see Baylor giving 5 in the Final Four in the early matchup. And tonight in the Elite Eight, Gonzaga and USC, the Zags giving 9 points. And UCLA and Michigan, the Wolverines favored by 6.5 this evening. We tip things off with Gonzaga, USC, and then Michigan, UCLA as the nightcap.
I'm scared of both of these games, point spread wise. Like, you just read those, and I just retreated.
Well, it's the first time Gonzaga has been a single-digit favorite. They've been a double-digit favorite in every game.
And I could see USC hanging there. I could see them losing by 20.
Well, the Zags close halves strong. That's why I would give the points here. I think it's right on there around 9.5. Vegas is always on it, but I would lay the points tonight. USC though, they have been the underdog 5 times in 32 games this year, only 5 games, and by no more than 3.5 points all year. So this is also uncharted waters for them in a matchup, but that's how good Gonzaga is. But that's also showing the respect of what Vegas thinks of USC with how they've been playing against far and away the best team in the tournament.
And we
right
say
now.
that sometimes, like they're conscious of the spread or care about the degree of underdogness, which I don't think at this stage of a tournament when they've played well, they're thinking about, though they know the Zags are the stiffest competition. that
I don't know if they
face.
pay attention to it, but I pay attention to what Vegas thinks of these teams because they're dead on.
Oh, yeah. No, I do too.
Look at
It's
the spread
scary. It's
last
scary
night.
how close they are in some of these games.
And
I'm
most of-
very confident in Gonzaga covering tonight, which almost gives me a level of concern.
And you've liked
that I'm
USC
so
all along.
confident. Yes, but I'm so confident that they're going to win by double digits that I'm almost a little bit worried how confident I am that it's going to happen. It's one of those where you see the line and you think, what am I missing here? And I know USC is very good, but I mean, we're talking about Gonzaga, maybe one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time.
Yeah. And then Michigan favored by 6.5 against UCLA. The Wolverines, very tall and athletic. They protect the rim extremely well. I think this is one of the nail-biter games, Paul, that you've been waiting on. I do think I would lay the points in this as well, thinking that free throws at the end get Michigan by 6.5.
Paul's a Northeast guy, so he's going to hate this. Michigan, the last team in the tournament east of the Mississippi
Isn't that
River.
amazing? Yeah.
And if
Hey,
they
that
lose,
affects the
it is
South, too, by the
all
way.
west of the Mississippi
That
for all the
affects the
teams.
South, too, by the way, not just the East.
I know, but I'm saying, especially you loving your Northeast basketball, certainly that's crazy to think about. But Michigan's the last team east of the Mississippi that's left playing.
I wonder if it affects the ratings at all in the East and the side. I'm talking the East side of the country. Eastern time, this late game starts really late, and then it's got Western teams in it. Especially if it's not close in the second half or TV's going off in the East Coast.
They can't be happy. I say this.
9 o'clock start on a Tuesday night.
Not just that. They can't be happy with the decision to move to the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah,
right?
Monday, Tuesday's tough.
So,
Friday night. You're giving up a Friday night for a Tuesday night. That's a monstrous difference in lifestyle, TV watching habits.
I think in the first round, when they went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday
That was okay.
for the tournament,
Thursday for
I think they're
Monday's
probably
not the
okay with that setup.
It was still. I think it was down 3 to 4% from 2019 to 2021 for the opening 2 rounds combined.
That's
for
not as
television
drastic, though, as this.
Yeah.
A Thursday, and you had that first 4 also, but you're giving up a Thursday for a Monday. There.
I think the one night that they just hate to be on normally is Friday night when it comes to these games. Like the old Sweet 16, Thursday, Friday, Elite 8, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
To get in that Sunday slot in the Elite 8 was big time. That was the late afternoon games, back-to-back, when you're in those Elite 8 games. So I think from a television standpoint, Friday night, Saturday night, not good spots to be in on TV. But I like to experiment with new schedules and new things, but this is one that didn't need to be messed with. Right? I know why they did it, and it's a different year for that reason.
Why did they do it?
But go back to Thursday, Friday.
They did it because they wanted, part of the reason they did it is because they wanted the first 4 to blend right in, like as a every other day thing. And so that wasn't going to be on a Tuesday night spaced out the same way.
You could do that on Wednesday night in the same
That
city.
was going to be the first.
But why?
I think they wanted an extra.
How did that help the
people to
COVID
have
ratings?
time getting to
Maybe they wanted
Indianapolis.
an extra day for COVID testing in case someone had something happen in the conference tournament. I don't know. But they for whatever reason, they changed it. But I don't know why you wouldn't go back to the original format.
But it hasn't affected the Final Four championship Monday night in their schedule.
No.
That's still going to be Saturday, Monday.
I don't. And for the Thursday night, Friday night thing, I mean, if you're the core viewing audience on this, I mean, you're giving that whole 4 days to the tournament, the first weekend, right? And we're all into the tournament. I'm not having a date night Friday of the tournament. I mean, my wife's in enough that we're watching the tournament that night. If my kid has a practice or a game, that's the one thing that interferes with that. Otherwise, all of us are in front of the TV for all of that.
I mean,
now my kid's got a game tonight. I'm going to miss the early game largely because I need the point spread on Hojo Elite in Brentwood. But outside of that, I'm coming home.
There's also something beautiful about, especially for our jobs, coming back on a Monday and talking about everything that happened over the weekend and not previewing games on Monday and Tuesday like we are now, or on Monday for second round games like it was in the first and second round, right? That was sort of the beauty of it. It's like the golf tournament
Neat
schedule.
and tight.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back-to-back weeks, Saturday, Monday for Final Four and National Championship. There's something that rings more true about that when you can recap an
Finale.
entire weekend of basketball and set up the next week on Monday.
So I kind of like this that we've got.
I'm really nitpicking
games.
here now with it, but it just goes
Yeah.
to show that the old setup was better.
But it's our life. I kind of like this element of it, that we've got games to watch and talk about daily and bets to place.
I haven't hated
whatever.
it, but I don't understand the reasoning behind the move.
But a 9 o'clock game for East Coast people is just awful in any sport. We talk about these start times all the time. I mean, you're not drawing in any kid is not going to see the Zags until Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, my 5-year-old's been in bed for about an hour and 15 minutes when that last game tips. When it starts. I mean, into that now, if you got a 5-year-old, I think most kids, 10:30 you're staying up to. So you're going to see the first half? Maybe, and that's Central Time we're talking about. Eastern Time, no chance, forget about it. But if you've got a kid in Central Time, you could probably see the first half.
And to be honest, I need to stop saying this as if my 11-year-old might watch that game if it was on earlier. Now he's going to bed 9:30, 10, but he's not sitting down and watching a basketball game. Now these highlights of the Zags, if they have a buzzer beater and they're on YouTube, a YouTube highlight reel 2 years from now, he'll see that and he'll run downstairs and say, "You got to see this." But that's how he's consuming it.
Coming up, we will give our thoughts on the 17-game schedule that the NFL is expected to approve at the owners' meetings, which are taking place today and tomorrow. And a little bit of the player backlash. We'll give our thoughts on what the players have said about this 17th game regular season and why it's on them, ultimately, if they don't like it. But when we come back, Manny Higuera went viral. 5'5", 285-pound kicker for Arizona Christian. He hit a game winner, and if you haven't seen this...
He set the internet on fire.
Yes. Manny Higuera, the Foot, will join us when we come back on Outkick 360. Hang with us.
Periodically, we're going to tell you a little bit about what's on the shelves behind us. This is Greg Nettles, my favorite player of all time. Greg, spelled like Craig, but Greg. Now, a lot of you are very unreasonable about your favorites. This is where you could get to me. He's my favorite. 77, 78 Yankees, tremendous. He won Gold Gloves both years. Led the AL in home runs in 77. Gold Glove winner Aurelio Rodriguez in 77. Come on. Buddy Bell starting in 79. Come on, Buddy Bell.
How did I meet John Hutton? I don't really recall meeting John Hutton. He was always sort of around. You may know him as Jonathan. Some know him as John. I call him Hutton, one of my best friends. I can tell you about the time, though, that we really formed a deep bond. That was in a hotel room in Phoenix. It was during the Super Bowl. We're both under the covers, separate beds this time, and we're watching an episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. We watched that episode not once, but we watched the episode after that, and then another episode, and then another episode. And before you knew it, it was 2 a.m., and we were bonding over Real Housewives of Orange County in a Phoenix hotel room. That's when I knew this John Hutton guy is pretty spectacular.
One of the many things in the Outkick 360 background here at Blackbird Studio is a tribute to Sergeant First Class Nick Moses, who served in the 5th Special Forces Group out of Fort Campbell. He had been deployed 3 previous times to Iraq and was a member of Operation Enduring Freedom, headed for his 4th deployment in Afghanistan, and as he was starting his 4th deployment, was killed on March the 15th, 2012. We started the show March 15th, 2021, and friends of Nick's asked us to display Nick is Here each day during the show. We do this proudly. This is a tribute to Nick Moses and to everyone who has served, will serve, or is currently serving in the United States Special Forces, the Army, the Marine, the Navy, Air Force, wherever you may be. Thank you deeply from all of us. We truly appreciate all you're doing for our country. Outkick 360 across the Outkick network. The crew is all here working hard behind the scenes. We will chat with Manny Higuera coming up in a few minutes. FanDuel.com/OK360 to check out the lines for tonight. Curious, guys, which commercial to you is more annoying with the CBS, TNT broadcast and the NCAA sponsorships? Is it the Geico commercial with the singing car ornament? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's make lots of money, which plays every commercial. Or is it the let's go now to our NCAA correspondent on CBS and TNT, Lily from AT&T, with these terrible jokes about, like, here's what inside the paint means and here's how to paint your face. It's dumb.
Yeah.
There's two sides of this, because I've been out on Lily and AT&T and whatever her actual name is. Is that her name in the commercial? Does she have a name?
She goes by Lily.
Commercial.
Like, you can see everyone on the panel smile to the camera. Let's go to our correspondent. And they're just like, whatever.
It's terrible. Those are bad. The one about let's make lots of money, equally as bad. I'm going to go with Lily. More annoying because there's been more overkill with her. On the flip side of that, though, the tag team ice cream Geico commercial that they play still in rotation on that.
Scoop, there it is.
Scoop, there it is still great.
But you know who it's for?
I sing along to it every single time, and my kids are the same way. Once it comes on the screen, they're going nuts.
Do you know what that advertises?
Ice cream? Well, insurance.
Yeah, but which company?
Geico, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said the Geico ad. But yeah, no, I'm still enjoying that one.
I've reached my limit on that one, finally, though it lasted a long time. You know that I believe there should be federal law limiting the shelf life of commercials. I actually am in
But yet
on...
the Crying Jordan meme still works.
Well,
there's no
circle
shelf
back,
life
though.
on that.
No, it boomerang, though. It's a lot of things that we think are funny, I think. It's funny. It fades a little bit, then it boomerangs
That never
back,
faded.
and then it stays.
I don't think it ever faded.
Funny.
I don't think
Jordan
we
might
ever-
not have faded, but a lot of things that are funny.
That's one of the few.
The Sister
stay.
Jean Crying Jordan blend that you sent
It
us
was terrific.
was amazing.
We send each other crying,
In the Letterman's
crying
jacket.
Jordan memes, and then one of the other ones who didn't send it says still funny, and then the third one agrees, likes the still funny. We just find it perpetually funny.
Well, the new Crying Jordan, though, is anything from The Last Dance. Like, everyone can put any GIF from The Last Dance, and it's funny. The one about, and I took that personally. That one that people put on a lot of things with Jordan's face, or him looking at the iPad and his eyes
also,
getting
the
big.
Rodman GIF where he's going, all the directions thing. I think that's from the Last Dance. That's one of my favorite ones. My vote is actually for Scoop. There it is. I've grown tired of it.
Wow.
I don't like
blasphemy.
I don't like these Lily commercials, but I like Lily overall, the character. So I don't. This set of commercials is terrible. Her behind the desk is not her setting. It's not her.
You need to see
environment.
more of Lily, is what I'm hearing.
No, I think she's a
Let's
good.
not cover Lily up behind the desk.
Well,
She needs
here's
to be
what I
out
like.
front.
Here's what I like. I think she's a good commercial actress, and I think they have a diversity of commercials. So most of the time when a Lily commercial comes on, it's one of 5 different commercials or 6 different concurrent commercials.
Yeah.
And like Geico, they've got a lot of different commercials. It's not the same commercial over and over and over, which I can appreciate.
And that's the corporate
But these
aspect of the
commercials-
NCAA.
Yeah, but these behind the desk things are overly repetitive, too frequently the same thing, and they don't work. They're not. They're
everything
taking
has to
her
be in
out of
the-
her environment.
It's in the same color scheme as the NCAA court, which is just bland and vanilla. Everything looks exactly the same.
It's
It's one of
almost
those things that it's
almost
funny.
depressing.
It's funny
Yeah.
for a
You know,
moment.
like when you hear Phil Collins' voice sometimes, and it just depresses you, no matter what song it is. Like there's you have to be in a certain mood for Phil
I
Collins.
wish it would rain.
Yes, but there's other times where
Down on
his
me.
voice sounds like a rainy day,
Yeah.
much like the song you're talking about. I think with those commercials, there's a certain depressing hue to the commercial. Like the color scheme and everything about it, when you see it pop on, it really brings me down.
Just a quick wrap on this. They go to her behind the desk like it's a surprise the first time. But if you're watching the tournament, you're watching a lot. And so the surprise is over after one time. Then they do it 100 times. Well, 99 times it's no longer a surprise.
There's something about the tag team, Scoop There It Is commercial. What gets me every time is the geeky dad, and he waits a beat to get into it, and the way he puts his hand up to start the dance when he's doing the whole thing.
That's not a dad, it's a son.
It gets me every time. That is not the son. That is the dad dancing. There's the daughter, the mom, and the dad.
No, that's the daughter and her boyfriend, or a brother and sister.
Can we chime in on Twitter and let us know? Am I crazy? That's the dad.
I'm having a hard time picturing it right now.
That is absolutely, guys, you've seen this commercial, right? They have not seen this commercial at all. So our two producers don't watch television.
They're very busy.
The only thing they see that's on a screen is us every day. These guys don't own a TV.
Tweet
They
us.
don't watch it. I don't know how you would not see this commercial
either a brother
if you
or a
owned a
boyfriend.
television. It is the dad. It is 100%
Not
the dad.
the dad. No
It is
way.
mom, dad, daughter embarrassed by dad when he starts doing the goofy dance to the song.
I'll pull this immediately.
I can't believe you think
Well,
this is the song.
I feel like the boyfriend would have a more hip response to the dance than the dad.
The boyfriend
So if
is
it's a
hip. The
goofy-
daughter gets frustrated
If
and
it's
walks
a
out.
goofy dance, then
It is absolutely the dad. I can't.
Absolutely.
I can't
Dad is
say
willing to
this.
die on this
I
hill.
can't say this any stronger. That Paul is so far off. This is almost as bad as years ago. Paul had a take that Peyton Manning wouldn't mean more in Nashville, being a Tennessee grad, than he would other places.
Still don't think. I mean,
Which was an awful
enormous amount
take.
anyway.
Paul thinking this is the son is equally a bad a take. The Scoop There It Is Geico commercial. It's absolutely the dad.
Nope.
UW on Twitter chimes in. That is the dad/husband
he
dancing
is the father.
with the lady. Derek, 100% the dad. Paul, you are so far off on this. I'm amazed.
I'm polling it right now.
I can't even picture the person right now.
Oh,
I
I
only
can
pay
see
attention to tag team, and that's it.
I can see him every. It's the dance that gets me every time that makes me laugh. UW also says on Twitter, I love the Capital One commercials with Chuck, Samuel L. Jackson, and Spike Lee, but Jim Nantz seems awkward and robotic.
Indianapolis.
Hit us up on Twitter at Outkick360. The NFL, they are moving to 17 games in the regular season. This has already been approved in the previous CBA. But, Paul, they're going to move forward with this coming season. They're going to vote this through today and tomorrow with the NFL meetings.
Yeah, some players, particularly Alvin Kamara, expressing surprise or contempt for this. Well, Chief, you voted, not you necessarily, you might have voted thumbs down on the CBA. The CBA passed narrowly, and this was in the CBA. So you shouldn't be surprised. You know, if you have a big complaint, complain to your union, which accepted it in the CBA they presented to you to vote on. It's not a surprise. This was a done deal a year ago, over a year ago.
They have played 16 games in a regular season since 1978. I believe I have that year right. Across the National Football League. They'll move to 17 in 2021. The idea is the schedule will be a 3-game preseason. The 4th week of the preseason will be treated as a bye week. Every team throughout the 17-game season will then get another bye week, so you still have one bye week throughout. And the Super Bowl schedule will be pushed back 1 week. That's important because of President's Day. They are now creating a holiday prior to President's Day. So you have the Monday off, generally speaking, from work after the Super Bowl. Now, President's Day in 2022 does not fall the day after the Super Bowl. But in the remaining years after,
It will?
on this agreement, it will fall on the day after the Super Bowl,
So it's a
which is
federal
brilliant
holiday.
marketing to pair the Super Bowl with a day off after the biggest game of the year.
Most people don't have President's Day off, right? Though it's a federal holiday. Postal workers, it's a bank holiday.
I think a lot of people do. And if the businesses choose not to take it, they will now, because a lot of employees are taking that day off anyway. Sports fans.
Yeah. Look, 17-game schedule, a couple things that change the fabric of what the NFL is. First off, you can't have a 500 team anymore. You're either a winning team or a losing team. Some people say that's good. I think I don't know. I like that 8-8 is kind of the benchmark, and you got to get above it or below it to really establish
we will have an
yourself.
8-8-1 team this year.
Yeah, you're right. Also records. You know, we've had now a long time of what benchmarks are for a 16-game season. You know, 2,000-yard rushing season like for Derrick Henry that he just had. For the Titans is a very big deal in a 16-game season. It's slightly less of a big deal in a 17-game season. A 1,000-yard rushing season, which isn't a big deal in a 16-game season, but still gets celebrated as some sort of an accomplishment, is no sort of an what is it? 60 yards a game in a 1,000-yard season. It's less and less of an accomplishment in a 17-game season, but we're going to still hear it cited as if it's some sort of thing. A lot of number calibrations, a lot of records that could get stretched out, and you're going to have to say, but that's in 17, not in 16.
That's literally the only reason I don't like this.
Yeah.
It's for the record keeping and the continuity of the game, in the history of the game, because more football is better.
Right.
I don't think this is an anti-player stance by me, even though the players have a problem with it. More football equals more television money, equals more gate receipts whenever all fans are allowed to go back to games, which will eventually equal more money for the players, which is a good thing for the players. I'm all for it.
Well, I understand the record-keeping aspect of this, but the current group of players, the elite players, are blowing these records out of the water already anyway in 16 games. You know, the real downside is for a guy like Drew Brees, who has certain records that he holds for touchdown passes and yards.
Yeah, right.
That's now going to move forward with a guy that potentially has one extra game per season over a 20-year career,
Right.
to break it in 16 instead of 20. But the guys now in 16 games are crushing the players and records from the 80s, generally speaking, and 90s. Whenever we compare seasons to head-to-head with some of the all-time greats. And I'm strictly saying from guys who have recently retired that we're comparing now to the Pro Football Hall of Famers. Some of the records that you've debated, Paul, inside that room for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, those numbers have been shattered anyway over a 16-game season over the last 15, 20 years.
Right. But like you're saying, in 20 more years.
Yeah, but you're still comparing that to the era.
Going through another cycle of it, and you get a 16-year career, you're getting another season's worth of games.
What's interesting is the players were not clamoring for this. The fans really were not clamoring for this. This is just the money grab.
Yeah.
And the players now are citing, the health and safety of the league, and that's fine. But they're still going about this and collecting that paycheck because it's a great paycheck. They're playing Thursday night football despite a short week because it's a great paycheck. And Amazon's paying an exclusive rights deal for that now moving forward. The players will complain on social media and show up on game day like they always have.
Yeah, and on the Thursday night football thing, let's make it clear. Players hate Thursday night football from Sunday end of game to Thursday end of game. Then they love it because then they've got a mini bye week and they've got 10 days till the next game. So as long as they make it through that game, they're completely fine with it. A quick aside, I concede it's the dad. Lebowski has sent the credits from the commercial.
It says husband/dad
is played by Anthony Goolsby. He does a hell of a job. I concede. I'm wrong.
Hutton's not familiar with the commercial enough, but if Hutton saw it one time, I'll show it to him during the break. In one time, you'll be able to say, this is absolutely the dad. I don't know if you can't see your television. I don't know how anyone would think that was the son.
I'm
trying to understand how you would think that was the son.
I have had extensive conversations with my wife about why the boyfriend/brother is so much cooler than the daughter, that he sticks around and dances while his girlfriend or sister leaves the room.
Paul does not see
And
age.
about how this is a man and woman thing, and the guy is cool, and the girl's just too cool for school and has to storm out.
I mean, I could spend so much time just interrogating. If we could get you on a couch and I could psychoanalyze
Bring in the couch!
As to how you thought that was not the dad of the husband.
There. If David didn't have a bad back, I'd ask him to literally bring in the couch.
Beep on Twitter says that guy in the commercial is neither dad nor boyfriend. He's the acid kid that broke into PK's house.
Oh.
There's an exciting twist.
I assure you, he is not
Unrecognizable because he's clothed.
Let me just again, what I
Please take
want.
your pants off so I can recognize
What
you.
I don't want lost in this, and this is very important, what I don't want lost in this is the fine acting job of Anthony Goldsby. Whether he was a husband, a brother, or a boyfriend, he's excellent. He's doing that dance where you hit legs with each other before the girl leaves, and then she leaves, and he does it with like a phantom partner. He continues his dance despite the fact that his dance partner evacuates the scene.
See, Mike on Twitter went to as far as to freeze the picture of the guy and girl in question, and the guy is wearing a wedding band on, so he's definitely the dad.
Goodness gracious.
Here's what you need to do to know that's the dad. Watch the
giant-
commercial and look at the man.
I've got a bigger
It's
TV.
clearly a dad with his daughter,
I've got
and he's married to the woman that's there scooping the ice cream.
I've got a very bad. Where do we think, since you know so much, where are they coming back from?
I have no idea. The store?
Yeah, give me the story. You got the background of
Well,
this
I
whole
can look
thing.
at someone and say, this is clearly the dad of the daughter. Every context clue, and also
You know,
every
this is-
physical clue by
this
looking
is
at the man.
baldism. This is baldism. He thinks that a boyfriend or a brother couldn't be going bald. Therefore, it has to be the dad if this guy's losing
No,
his hair.
That
Well,
guy's
it's-
not going bald.
It's the father because the credits of the commercial say so, not because of some
Well,
bald.
who had watched the credits to the commercial before Lebowski did this great piece of
Paul, you
investigation?
really need to stop defending this. This
Yeah.
is one of your worst
You're
takes
completely
ever.
wrong, and I
I'm
haven't
gonna
even seen
show
this guy.
Hutton during our next break.
Twitter
this
is
commercial.
It's
and
not
you
even
tell me-
close.
Not one person agrees with you. Not one person even understands how you can think that.
I'm admitting I'm wrong.
No, you're still defending it. You're saying, oh, how is it? Because he's balding. This is hairism.
He is bald.
You think because he has hair, he's the son. The guy is not even bald. How dare you assume that every man with hair is the son in a commercial?
I think he's beginning to lose his hair.
Father can't have hair anymore.
I do think he's beginning to lose his hair.
I'm just so confused.
David, is he losing his hair?
Oh, my God.
We all are. Reed is efforting Manny Higuera, who is the foot, not known as the hair, but the foot for Arizona Christian.
We'll ask him what he thinks of this.
He had a
commercial.
46-yarder for the win in the NAIA. He went viral because he's 5'5", 285,
Yes.
and he hit this kick from 46 yards to send his team to the Sooner Athletic Conference Championship title.
Follow us on Twitter, Outkick360. I posed a question on our Twitter account in honor of our guest today. Who is the athlete all time that does not fit the physical stereotype of the sport or position they play that you love? One that comes to mind for me, speaking of a little bit of a heavyset person,
Okay.
Oliver Miller, the Big O.
Great one.
I love the Big O.
I
Back into
also,
that.
you know who immediately came to mind? Muggsy Bogues.
Yes. We've got a
Muggsy-
number of Muggsy Bogues votes. He's a good one.
I don't like Bowl throwing around three-point shots.
Well, Manute Bol would shoot the three, too. He would shoot the occasional three.
And they can hit it because they're throwing a different shot. They're throwing it down into the basket from back there. But little guys dunking is good. Big guys shooting threes bad to me.
Is it? I also thought of Jeremy Lin for some reason whenever we first started this discussion. Now, that may be part of the perception of watching him only on TV against like guys that of the same caliber, where you see a guy that it's like Steph Curry. Steph Curry's what, 6'3",
Yeah.
but he looks 6 feet tall amongst the giants of the NBA.
Well, like Steve Kerr is 6'5".
That's there. See, exactly.
I remember seeing Steve Kerr at one time in the concourse at Bridgestone Arena for the SEC tournament when he was the Suns GM, and I'm 6'3", and I walked past him like, Steve Kerr is huge, walking through the concourse, and you would see him and not think that he's
Oliver
6'5".
Miller's a great one. Muggsy Bogues.
I think of undersized big men.
Well,
Charles
I said
Barkley
this about Buddy.
at 6'5", 6'6",
Yeah.
in the position he played.
I
Is
said
another
this
good
about Buddy Boeheim as he emerged during this tournament. I said to Chad, how big is Jim Boeheim? Because clearly Jim Boeheim had to be bigger than I thought for his son to have his on-court stature. And sure enough, Jim Boeheim, I think he told me, was 6'4".
Well, I guess.
Jim Boeheim was a good player.
He's 6'3". I just looked up. He's
Yeah.
6'3".
And I pictured Jim Boeheim more as, he's a whiny, hunched-over dude
Well,
who comes
he's really
across
like
as a
5'11"
5'9".
because he's so hunched over, but
Yeah.
6'3" when he straightens up.
Yeah.
Anyone in the NFL come to mind?
Oh gosh.
You know,
I mean, Drew Brees is known for being
Roby,
he's
Doug
he
Flutie.
broke that mold. Doug
If
Flutie.
you're looking at short quarterbacks.
Reggie Roby was big for a punter. There was a fake punt the other day going around, a classic fake punt by him where he kind of fake punted it, put it behind like somebody was going, and then he ran. He looked like a linebacker. He's a big, thick guy. I had a big confrontation with him once, with him getting in my face and yelling at me out in Bellevue, outside of Nashville. He was a big man.
Speak
for
up
a
when you
punter.
tell these stories.
Was
You
not,
start to whisper when you tell these stories
he
of
was,
confrontation.
he was not the quintessential punter.
Sebastian Janikowski. There's
He was fat.
especially with our guest. He was tall and fat.
Had the gout also.
Yeah, he
The
did.
dreaded gout.
Rare athlete gout case.
Yeah.
You don't see that
That's
every
not
day.
an athletic disease, it doesn't strike me.
Hit us up on Twitter at Outkick360. You can let Paul know how wrong he is about the commercial.
I just have one more thing on the commercial. I don't think our production crew got enough. Now, they may have just been buried in work, but these guys had nothing to say about the commercial as if they haven't seen it.
They haven't seen it.
They said
How
earlier.
have they not
Neither
seen
one of
it?
them has seen it. They don't
they
watch
living on
television. I'm
planet
telling
Earth?
you.
If you would have been listening during the live segment, you would know that they've already told us that they haven't seen the commercial.
How have they not seen it? I want to investigate further. You want to investigate me misinterpreting
We
the
need to-
commercial.
let's-
I want to investigate them not seeing the commercial.
Let's stick to what the real story is.
Are you guys on
And
planet
that
Earth?
is, we have to get to the bottom. David Reed will help us also. Let's get to the bottom of how in the world Paul thought this was the sun. During the break, Hutton, who apparently has seen the commercial but checks out every time it comes on, will watch it and give us
I think
his
I've noticed
opinion.
everyone except for the father.
How
in
many
this commercial.
people in the United States of America have not seen this commercial? 10. 2 of them are sitting right
Stop
here.
trying to change what the real story is. Paul, now, this is what he does. He's dead wrong. He diverts to
I
Lance
said
and
I'm
Yaakov.
wrong.
And now he wants to make Lance and Yaakov the
I'm
story,
wrong.
not the story.
I'm wrong.
We will not be wrong on our picks tonight for the
no, we're going to
Elite
chase
Eight.
and crush.
We will. We continue to chase, although 2 for 2 last night. We build on that with our picks coming up
I
with
didn't bet it, of
Michigan
course.
and Gonzaga. We tell you why we're giving and laying the points. That's straight ahead on Outkick 360. Outkick 360. Follow us on Twitter at Outkick 360. If you're watching on YouTube, we hope you'll hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, share the post for us as we spread the word that Outkick 360 is available live every weekday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, right here across the Outkick network. Crew is all here. The poll question well in the favor of Chad against Paul.
I deleted it. I deleted the poll question because it's such an infuriatingly dumb question to ask. And I only approved the question if Paul denoted that at Paul Kuharski NFL thinks that it's the son. What do you think? Is
In the
it
scoop,
dad
there it is
or
commercial.
son? Because we can't be asking dumb questions like that on this show. We just can't do it.
It was fine. Look, there he is. There he is. Easily could have been an older boyfriend.
An older boyfriend
Or an older
at
brother.
the parents' house
Or an older
with
brother.
gray in his beard that finishes the commercial dancing with the mother,
Look, if we
not
put
the
that-
daughter.
if
So shockingly, this older gentleman caller, if you will, with the daughter who's clearly in high school, then finishes the commercial doing a dance routine with the daughter's mother, who also happens to be his girlfriend's mother,
Sure.
according to Paul.
They have a good relationship.
None of this makes logical sense.
Can you put that back up 1 second? Look at the puzzlement on his face. If we put that back up, the puzzlement on his face is like the puzzlement on my face, learning that he is the father rather than the brother.
The puzzlement on his face is seeing tag team in his kitchen.
Tag team is in his kitchen.
With
That's
his
the
wife.
puzzlement.
I'm saying it's
That's the puzzlement.
similar to my puzzlement now.
That man is clearly a father.
Listen, we've
Look at
got some
Chad.
good
Look at Chad.
mileage.
He
We've
is so
got some-
frustrated by this.
We've got some good mileage out of me, but me pretending like I thought it was the brother or the boyfriend. We've got some good mileage out of
The
it.
director's notes on this thing was you're going to walk into a kitchen and the 90s rap duo tag team is going to be there rapping, pouring ice cream with your wife. So react surprised. And Paul's thinking the notes are, you're surprised. Just act surprised. And you walk in. Oh, my God.
Do all commercials have credits like that, or is that a special Geico feature?
Well, that was,
Lebowski, send me a
That was
text.
a Facebook post by them for people asking, them crediting the actors in the.
Guy did a phenomenal
He's
job.
the next Denzel.
No.
This man.
No matter
He
the
can play any role.
Hey, no matter the room,
Guy's
no
the
matter the
Daniel
room,
Kaluuya.
no matter the room for interpretation, I maintain the guy did a fantastic job.
Quite the impression on Paul.
Again, we had the still shot. I'm looking at it. And Hutton watched the video. You watched the commercial once.
did.
And immediately, Hutton's like, oh, yeah, that's definitely the dad.
Hutton didn't even remember it. I'm saying the guy's giving a memorable acting job. Hutton didn't even remember it.
Well, see, I think it's
Tuned
great.
him right out.
I think it's great casting because I only remember tag team. I couldn't if you had the other three
so the other
members
three are invisible
of the
to
commercial.
you.
They are. If you like in my
That's
in my
hurtful.
recall, if you line them up, I couldn't tell you this guy's in the commercial, that woman's the mom. I
See,
couldn't
I
tell
see
you.
nothing else.
Well, this speaks to a bigger issue with Paul. And this is a little bit of a side story time because this brought up the story to
do
me.
tell.
Paul is one of the least observant reporters that you'll ever encounter.
I observe
Just
when it's
in the. I'm
important.
saying in the wild, like when you're into your
In the
thing,
wild.
right? When Paul's in the wild, he sees nothing because he's so tunnel vision on. If he's writing a story, working on something, he sees nothing else going on. Or if he's trying to talk to someone, it's laser focus and does not see anything. The head is not on a swivel. We're in Indianapolis one
Well,
time.
I don't care
at the
about a lot of
Combine.
things either.
We're
That's the
leaving
thing.
one bar, going to another, and we walk out, and Titans head coach Mike Vrabel's just hanging out, kind of walking into the restaurant. Hutton and I say hi and walk past. Paul with us, right? We're a trio. I think maybe Kirby was with us at the time, too.
I was straggling.
Four of
I
us
was
there.
straggling a little bit.
Four of us are there, and Paul walks out, and we're having a
missed him.
conversation about running into Mike Vrabel, and Paul goes, "Who? Where'd you see Mike Vrabel?
Where? Really, where?
Where is he?" Is it Paul? We just ran into him.
This story is a little skewed because I know a whole bunch of people in the NFL and they know one. So I'm looking all over the place
That's
at a whole
incorrect.
bunch of people, and he's looking at Vrabel. And is this the same night? I'm sure it's the same night.
We walked out
where
of a restaurant, and the only person in front of us was Mike Vrabel.
This is the
Everyone
same
else was
night-
in the restaurant.
This is the same night where one bar earlier, Chad ran across the street, dropped his hat in the middle of the street, didn't pay any attention to it.
It's a very windy
whatsoever.
night.
And again,
would have been perfectly happy
was
without
not-
his hat.
it was
Who recovered
not-
the hat? Me.
This is not a hat. It was a
Scarf.
scarf Not a hat. I'm
Same
not a
thing.
hat guy. I was not wearing a hat in the middle of Indianapolis. I didn't have a fedora on that Paul picked up like I'm damn Indiana Jones running across the street. It was a scarf that blew off in wind.
Very fashionable.
Did Chad pay it any mind when it blew
I
off?
was
No,
angry
but-
with Tennessee
I would-
losing to a bad LSU
That's-
team. And Will Wade, and I wanted to get back to the hotel, and then my scarf blew
I
off.
don't need my clothing
And I didn't care
anymore.
about a scarf at that point. Paul, again, the least observant reporter you'll ever encounter. Evidence, example A, is the fact that he thought the Geico commercial, scoop, there it is, it was the son and not a father.
How have you failed with phone numbers recently?
Listen, we were at the Combine last year, the last Combine. I wish it was
The last
I wish it was the last Combine ever, but they're going to resume it. We had Zach Taylor, the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, on Radio Row. Good get for us. We had a nice conversation with him. I had met him at the previous owners' meetings when he was hanging out with Matt LaFleur. Got to know him a little bit there, over beer, just, 10 minutes. Reached out to him to see if he would join us on the radio. He graciously said he would. I'm like, hey, I'm developing a relationship here with another head coach. Good. Asked him for his phone number. He gave it to me. Can't find it anywhere. I'm developing a bad reporter habit of not immediately putting a number into my phone. Tear up my office to find the Combine notebook where I should have written down this phone number. This was during the season, like after the
This
Cincinnati
surprised me because you
game.
are technologically savvy.
Yes, after the Cincinnati game would have been a good time for me to have checked in with him. Titans-Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
Can't find it. Find my Combine notebook. It's not in my Combine notebook, which means, you know how I operate. I've got my notebook where I'm writing everything down, but I've also got a folded sheet of paper like you operate where I've got kind of my questions. So I'm kind of reading off of this notebook and writing into this notebook. So I might have written it down on that sheet. You know how those sheets go by the wayside.
Lost.
So the guy gives me his phone number, but I don't have his phone number. And then again, last night, a Titan who I'd like to get in touch with right now, odds are he probably wouldn't respond, but I'd like to reach out. And I got his phone number during the course of the year. I know precisely after which game. I didn't put his number into my phone. So this is two failures of the process. And I know which notebook it's in. I went through my notebooks last night from last season, and which game is missing. There may be more than one game missing, but this game is missing.
That one game.
That one game is nowhere to be found. Now I have the notebook from before that game, but I don't have the notebook from that game and after. So I have got to get in the rhythm of getting those numbers into my phone immediately. And I've killed myself on two occasions where, reporting-wise, it could really help me to have those numbers. By the time I get to see Zach Taylor again and get that phone number, he will be an offensive coordinator again, which is fine. He'd probably be more helpful in that role.
My word of advice for anyone that currently works for a company, which is probably the majority of people watching, save your contacts in a backup, because what I have learned is when your employer quickly deletes your email address, you have nothing but phone numbers and not the names. So as people and clients, former clients, reach out to me and send me texts, I have nothing but a phone number as a reference. The name is completely wiped from my phone.
Really?
Because the email address was connected to a certain account.
Yeah.
So I've just got a bunch of people texting, but it's just straight numbers.
When you lose that business email account, I'm always also waiting on the people who are going to come back and say, I've been emailing you for months.
Yeah.
I've been reached out about this opportunity, and you never got back with anything. I don't have that account anymore.
I never relied on that business email account.
Smart. That was smart of you.
All those times you guys told. Well, I didn't want to change the password every 3 days, which was a big part of it.
Here's
but-
another lesson for all of you that work for a company or any company. Don't sign a non-compete. Ever.
Refuse.
Don't do it. Refuse. If they want you bad enough, they'll let you skate by without signing one.
Yeah. Get the numbers in your phone book, in your contacts, and then those contacts should be updating to the cloud. I think everybody's doing that. You guys familiar with the cloud?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Not the Geico commercial,
The
but
only
the cloud.
cloud that Jakob knows about is coming out of his Volkswagen van before when he parks out here in front of the studio. That's the only cloud he's aware of.
Guys, let's give our locks tonight. FanDuel.com/OK360. Do we agree that we're laying the points in both of these games?
I am taking
Michigan and Gonzaga.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really know what laying the points means. I know you say that a lot. You're saying you're taking the favorite to cover.
Yeah.
I'm taking Gonzaga to cover.
9 points.
I'm taking Michigan to cover. So, yes,
6.5.
I'm laying the points on both.
9 and 6.5 are the current lines.
Yes, though I'm a little bit worried.
Very confident in Gonzaga, not as confident in Michigan.
See, I'm a little bit worried.
If I had to rank my confidence level.
I'm a little bit worried on the USC front. I think they could wiggle inside of that.
I think that's
Conceivably.
I think that's a really close game in the nightcap.
You know where I've had some real success at FanDuel?
Live
First half unders. If you look at
This has been
it's
an under
been like
tournament.
75 to 80% in the tournament where the game's been starting slow point wise, and you can hit on that first half over under. And I've been going first half unders with some success.
I think the first half line for Gonzaga.
Last night it was 1-1 though.
It's one.
I tried to parlay it.
Oh.
Both first half unders. Baylor Arkansas was way over in the first half with points, and then Oregon State Houston was way under.
If not for the Alabama overtime in the Sweet 16 round, the first 7 games, I didn't check on the 8th, the first 7 games of the Sweet 16 would have gone under
On the full game.
on the full game.
That's crazy.
And they're all 140-ish, right? I mean, they're all in a very tight
Yeah.
range outside of the outlier. You know, a big outlier on the top and the bottom. The average is very close in there. They expect the game to be a low 70s.
Last I checked with FanDuel, the first half line for Gonzaga tonight is -5. -9 overall.
Maybe worth jumping on. Maybe worth jumping on.
Coming up, the Tennessee Power Hour. A lot to discuss, including where the Titans were today, where they were represented today by John Robinson at Pro Days
Two big
across the country. We'll give you the latest there. We discuss all the Tennessee headlines straight ahead on Outkick 360. Kicking off the Tennessee Power Hour on Outkick 360 across the Outkick Network. Glad you're with us alongside Chad Withrow and Paul Kuharski. I'm Jonathan Hutton, Lance Lee, Jakob Swanson, David Reed, Emma Notestein, making the show happen for us. Always a cast of thousands. And we hope you'll subscribe on YouTube, if you'll share on Facebook, if you're watching there. If you are listening right now to Fox Sports Knoxville, thank you and spread the word that Fox Sports Knoxville is affiliate number 1 for Outkick 360. You can also find us on your Amazon device. Just ask Alexa to search Outkick on YouTube. And we have Outkick 360 gear. Right now, Merch Madness at Outkick.com. Outkick.com, click on Shop, and you get 40% off of all merchandise through the end of the month, which is through Wednesday evening. Just use the code Merch Madness. You can get Outkick 360 gear, of course, all the Outkick gear there as well. Outkick.com, click on Shop, and you'll see the Outkick gear available. 40% off through tomorrow using the code Merch Madness.
The shirt, by the way, is a little grayer than it looks. It's not straight black. It's kind of a
like a charcoal,
grayish black.
It's what's the pewter? Is that the proper term for it? The pewter?
Pewter's brownish.
I think pewter is Jacob shaking his head. Jacob doesn't even know colors either.
It's not.
It doesn't have a television. He doesn't know colors.
It's not pewter. The Bucks are pewter. It's not pewter.
But it seems sort of like that.
It's like a charcoal color.
Yeah, charcoal.
Yeah.
Also, hit us up on social media, Outkick 360, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Show us pictures of you in your Outkick 360 gear.
We love that.
We get a kick out of that. Maybe we'll find something else for you. Maybe Paul will give you another terrible commercial observation just for Outkick VIPs or people that send us pictures in their gear. Paul can give you another thing.
I like to share them more broadly.
Yeah.
40%
Paul's wife
off,
also now texting me saying that she too is amazed that Paul is good at his job based on how non-observant he is of things that go on around him. And even Paul said that you guys have had this conversation. Yeah. And she told you that it was the dad.
She's in a very, very bad back pain lately. And I think her...
Again, the deflection.
Hi, sweetheart. I think that your back pain is really getting to you.
The back pain has moved to the head, you're saying.
You might want to turn things off and go lay down.
It's only going to get worse from here, Teresa.
Titans have agreed to terms on a 1-year deal with Matthias Farley, a safety who plays a lot of special teams. He's been with the Colts and the Jets, 66 games, 18 starts. So some depth with or above
or below Dane Cruikshank. We don't know.
That's a new fastest growing game. It's going to take over for, what was the game you had us playing?
Konzo or Kroom?
No, Konzo or Kroom, but you had us playing. Is this so-and-so's daughter? Who was that?
Oh, Nate Oates.
Is this Nate Oates' daughter?
Nate Oates' daughter? Where we show you attractive blonde women and ask, is this Nate Oates' daughter?
Oh,
How much trouble am I in?
Farley's got to be a, not much. She's heard much worse.
Not on the air.
Farley's got to be a special teams guy, right? Like the position itself lends.
Well, I mean, he has
he
started 18 games, so
out of how many though?
66. But I mean, your question is exactly the right one. Is he above or below Cruikshank? You would hope he's above Cruikshank, which means he could start if somebody was hurt.
Yeah.
You have much faith in Cruikshank starting if somebody's hurt?
I don't have faith in Cruikshank being
healthy. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to nitpick health of Jadeveon Clowney, Cruikshank's right there too on availability. Now expectations are higher, but my expectation for Dane Cruikshank is he's going to spend time on injured reserve half the season.
But this move could conceivably take safety off the need list. You have 4 now if this guy's any good.
Out of Notre Dame. Out of Notre Dame.
And he's been in the league. He's got some experience.
John Robinson attending Ohio State's Pro Day today. No big surprise. The 2 big colleges going on right now, Ohio State and Alabama.
Same day.
And Bill Belichick at Alabama. So you're going to see a lot of the comparisons in the mock drafts with New England and Mac Jones. In fact, there's live tweets going on right now of every throw that Mac Jones makes, and good or bad, they pan to Bill Belichick to see his reaction, his visual reaction to each throw that Jones makes. He overthrew a receiver, and immediately the camera panned to Bill Belichick to see if he was watching Jones intently, and if so, if he was making a note about it.
I've got a Jones take here, which is about, and I want to write a bigger piece about this, is really about the evolution of the quarterback position, which has happened pretty quickly. Because once upon a time, the league wanted pocket passers. Pocket passers. And now Mac Jones is the outlier because Mac Jones isn't mobile enough compared to these other guys, all of whom can move to some degree, some to a great degree, some only to a satisfactory degree. Now, Mac Jones isn't immobile.
No.
He can move, but he's not a moving quarterback compared to the rest of this class, right? Now, let's go as recently as 5-10 years ago, even 5 years ago, right? Lamar Jackson is not what you want. Lamar Jackson's still not what I want, right? I need you to be able to make all the throws, and I'm not convinced that Lamar Jackson can make all the throws. I don't think he can throw well to the sidelines, right? But virtually every young quarterback, I mean, look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks like a prototypical pocket quarterback, right? He's got the build you want, and he could stand back there and see over the line and deliver great throws. But what else can he do?
Run.
He's the best runner on that football team last year, football team that was a real AFC threat. So now if you're a quarterback in the NFL and you don't pose some sort of running threat, you're seen as deficient. It wasn't that long ago that they were like, oh, all that guy does is run. He counts too much on his legs. He's going to get hurt, which is still something you worry about. Like, you don't want a guy to be over-reliant on the run. But teams are more and more willing to include that running feature into their game, to put you on the move, on rollouts, on RPOs, on all of this stuff, the Shanahan influence, the McVay type of game. And now Mac Jones is talked about in a way where he's got at least a small deficiency in his game by not being as mobile as the rest of this class. Whereas if we were looking at these guys 5 years ago, I'd say, but definitely 10 years ago, you might have flipped the whole thing. Hey, Mac Jones is the pocket passer here. That's the guy you really want. These other guys, they run around too much.
Well, for me, it's not about mobility as much as it is footwork. Is he nimble in the
that's a fair
pocket?
pick.
Mac Jones, I think deserves more credit in that area. Also, there's a lot of RPO in Steve Sarkisian's play calling.
Yeah.
So, I think he'll get graded up some there. I don't think he's in the top. He's in the top tier of the quarterback class. He's not above the other four quarterbacks to me.
I think he's fifth.
But the fifth can be a top 15 pick in this draft and a good quarterback in the league.
I don't think he's who San Francisco's going up there to take. And it's amazing. Like, you hear this about every quarterback. Oh, that guy'd be great in the Shanahan system. I mean, I don't hear too many quarterbacks referred to as wouldn't be great in the Shanahan system. What you need to be great in the Shanahan system, first and foremost, is available, unlike Jimmy Garoppolo's been.
Well, speaking of not mobile, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Well, and this is where it's funny because Jimmy Garoppolo in Shanahan's system, and people, if you're going to discount someone who's not perfect for a system, it's Justin Fields if he's there, right? Everyone's automatically wanting to slot Trey Lance or Mac Jones to the 49ers in that spot and not Justin Fields. I think Fields is the better prospect. I think he's the better quarterback. But, Paul, there's even a recent example.
And Fields ran a scout timed 4.4
right.
at Ohio State.
The last 2 seasons, you had 2 SEC quarterbacks go undefeated, win a national title, and have historically good offensive seasons. Joe Burrow, number 1 overall, and then Mac Jones. What's the biggest difference between those two? Joe Burrow can run. Joe Burrow was a runner when he was at Ohio State, and people came in saying, well, this guy can also run a little bit as well. I'm with you, Hutton. Now, the difference may also be Joe Burrow didn't have to contend with Trevor Lawrence in his draft class, or he wouldn't have been number 1 also. But I do think that I think you can legitimately look at those two and say, how big is the gap really between Joe Burrow, who's not going to want to run, he's going to want to throw, but can if he has to.
Get your first down.
And he can run better than Mac Jones, but Mac Jones does have the footwork, and he's got a little bit of escapability where he can be nifty in the pocket.
Can you maneuver in the pocket? And ultimately, you can be as mobile as as a wide receiver or running back, can you step up and make throws from the pocket?
Yeah,
that's how you're going to be judged.
Still fundamental, but I'd say Burrow and Josh Allen are different kind of running quarterback than
Lamar Jackson
or even Mahomes, who are going to run like a scat back as opposed to I don't want to say fullback. Those guys aren't fullbacks, but they're tight ends. They're running like a tight end. They'll put their shoulder down. Their teams don't want them to put a shoulder down. They prefer them to slide or get out of bounds. But Burrow and Allen are physical runners. Mahomes can be physical, Jackson can be physical, but ultimately they're going to juke you out and try to leave you in your
but
cleats.
Mahomes can step up and make every throw.
Oh, absolutely.
From anywhere on the field.
Absolutely.
Lamar Jackson cannot.
No, right. But they're making, I think, collectively, those guys more attractive than they've ever been. People's minds are more open to that brand of mobile quarterback. Mahomes, you're not going to find the guy that can make the throws like that. You might find the guy that has more Lamar Jackson on the end of the scale. And I think people are generally more willing to discuss and consider that kind of guy than they ever have been before.
Maybe, but I don't think anyone is rushing to get to someone that's more Lamar Jackson than a quarterback who is a great pocket passer who can also run. Right? Lamar Jackson is known as a great athlete playing quarterback. Occasionally can be very good with his arm, but I think of Lamar Jackson as a run threat first.
Yeah,
He's not the passing threat of other quarterbacks. I don't know a single GM or coach that's looking for Lamar Jackson over even a Mac Jones type that is better in the pocket than he is running.
No, I agree, but I think because it's so hard to find quarterbacks, period, that when you get into the thing and you're thinking about recycling one of these veterans who hasn't panned out or whatever, you're more and more willing in today's league, tell me if you disagree, to kind of consider all options instead of sticking to the formulaic thing that you have in your head as to what a quarterback needs to be.
The formula's pretty simple to me. If you're going to ask me to name who are the prototypes that every team would want in the NFL,
accurately.
It's Aaron Rodgers and it's Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
And what are we talking about first with those two guys?
Accuracy, arm
velocity, slotting your arm in different ways, creativity, ability to throw it from different angles.
Well,
both those guys have that in spades.
The word is command.
Yeah.
They have command, and it doesn't matter where they are, where they're throwing from. They're in complete control of the offensive system that they're in.
But all I'm saying is, and I'm
they're not a piece. They are the leader.
I'm not saying there's a Lamar Jackson in this draft. And I'm not a Lamar Jackson guy by any means. But Baltimore believes, and a lot of people believe with them, that the way they build with defense and the way they have that offense, which still needs help, they've gotten one receiver in Sammy Watkins, they got turned away from several others, that they can contend in the AFC on a regular basis with that, having failed to find the kind of quarterback that we're talking about and having wisely built their offense around a guy who's not anything.
Well, you have to be all in on that style, on that option attack.
Yeah. Which I personally hate, but wins.
You have to be all in on that one style, and that's the way you go about winning games offensively. You know, that the goal is to have a dual threat quarterback that can do the things that we're talking that a top tier quarterback, that a first round quarterback would be able to do.
And then circling back to where I started, you still don't want the statue who was once appealing. You say, hey, we'll take a drop back quarterback, build a great offensive line. He'll get sacked once in a while, but we want him to drop back, scan the field, and deliver the ball. I think there's less of that, and you want more nimble. And guys are more nimble.
I'll take the statue. The statue
John
is
John
Elway can run.
Not John Elway, Dan Marino.
But the difference is they are extremely light-footed in the pocket. Like Tom Brady is not known for his ability to scramble, but he's great at evading and stepping up in the pocket, making a throw. Peyton Manning the same way. You can find guys who have great footwork that are not light of foot by any means. And that's the trick to it is if you're not the mobile quarterback, if you're if we're comparing Mac Jones right now to the other top quarterbacks in this draft, he's not going to win the 40 time. But is he shifty enough in the pocket to make the throws necessary that you want from the franchise quarterback? That's what you're trying to assess.
If you have a B- guy now, though, which you could survive with in the league while you're looking, right?
Yeah.
He's less likely to have Peyton Manning or Tom Brady's feel for getting out of those situations, and more likely to have the kind of movement stuff that I started this conversation with. Well, he can run.
I don't,
a little
and
bit
I think some of
to
that
bail
Paul,
himself out.
Paul, some of that is a function of college football.
Yes,
today.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm racking
It's
my
the feeder
brain
system.
trying to think of.
Yeah, not everyone's Harrison Bailey.
Yeah, good college quarterback. But even Harrison Bailey can move in the pocket. You know, like he's not a complete statue. Like there is some footwork involved. I'm trying to think of the complete statue in college football that's left. There's not a lot of programs
Right.
recruiting a guy that can't move. Felipe Franks at Arkansas. He's a big guy who can move enough. He's not the lightning quick guy, but you would look at him physically and think this guy could be a statue, you know, with his arm strength and his size, but he can move a little bit too. It's hard to find what the high school game is producing.
It's the evolution
with
of
spread offenses. That's what they're providing the college game, and the college game providing the NFL. And then it turns into the NFL looking for more of what high school and college is producing
And
for them.
that's another sea change that we've talked about and we'll talk about again, that the NFL reflects the feeder system more than it ever has before, where the NFL used to kind of issue the demand and college and high school would in turn seek to provide what the big boys wanted. And now it's completely flipped on its head. And the NFL just adapts to what is coming up the pipeline.
What did Justin Fields run today?
4.44.
4.4. Yeah, I haven't seen Mac Jones's number yet, but
It's not going to be 4-4.
no. But it doesn't have to be.
No.
It doesn't have
No.
to be. I'm intrigued by what these quarterbacks do with the teams they're headed to. I think there's a possibility that we go into the season, other than Trevor Lawrence, the other four guys we're discussing are backing up a veteran starter right now. San Francisco could trade Jimmy Garoppolo, but they could actually be telling the truth that they're trading up for their franchise quarterback.
Nobody wants that cap number. I think it's $25 million.
Yeah,
cap.
I think it would take a team like New England, for instance, that would know the guy that would want to take that on.
And there's a strong report from the athletic guy in New England that they're not in. They're not in on Garoppolo.
Trey Lance, you know, if he ends up going to Atlanta at 4.
Anybody in Atlanta's on the bench.
But Matt Ryan is there. Of course, you know, you've got some of the other the top teams at the top of this draft that have a veteran starter in place, other than Jacksonville. So the New York Jets, do they keep Darnold and then assess what they do with number 2 overall? You can make a case for, at least to start the season, the veteran starter that's in place with these franchises will be the guy that ultimately takes the first snap on opening day.
But we know how that goes.
It
doesn't last long.
Of course. I mean, look at Tua Tagovailoa was drafted in the first round. He was a backup to Ryan Fitzpatrick last year. But he's the franchise quarterback in year number 2. Other than Jacksonville, these guys, to me, they fit the developmental top-tier group. I don't see a surefire starter in year 1 other than Lawrence. Ready to go out and be the guy.
I agree with what you're saying, but it's remarkable in the last few years how surprising first-year quarterbacks have been. Herbert last year, I didn't expect would come in
and the
be
plan
good,
was
and
he was going to be
wasn't
the
on a good
backup.
team.
The plan was he was going to be the backup.
Right. But when he got his chance, he was really good.
When he got his chance, he played well, and they still wanted to go back.
I know. And
they still wanted to go back
and that
to
tells
him.
you why his head coach is out of a job in part. And they had a bad offensive line. He's getting hit too much. I mean, he didn't have a lot of great circumstances around him, and he still played terrific.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'm surprised at how many quarterbacks have played well given their chance early, which suggests to me, in lines of what we're talking about, the game has been made easier for rookie quarterbacks because these teams have to get these guys on the field and have to get results. Otherwise, they're going to be fired very quickly, right? The shelf life of a new head coach, they get the longer contracts. Teams say they're going to be patient, but ultimately, if they don't win, they're out. And they have to find ways, and they've gotten better at finding ways, getting these guys on the field and helping them get early results. And we've seen it more often, which I think is a real tribute to coaches and the programs, also to the players coming up who are more pro-ready. But I think being pro-ready means something different than it did not that long ago,
And I
when
think
things were just too complicated coming in and you were swimming.
the
early.
coaches are the biggest part of this. The coaches are so
Willing.
much more flexible now.
Willing.
They've coached in different systems. They understand different offenses. Coaches are so much more equipped to tailor the offense around the quarterback.
Simplify.
In the old stodgy coaching style of, I'm going to draft a guy and he better know how to play in my offense. Because
Right.
I'm not changing a thing. I'm not changing the verbiage. I'm not changing checks the line. Anything we do offensively, they better come in and know how to do it. I think coaches now are just so much more adaptable at tailoring the offense around the quarterback's skill set.
And if you gotta
And that's
give
why
them-
you're seeing guys come in and play quicker and have better results.
If you got to give them a half-field read, if you got to give them one read and check down, you'll do it. And teams have done it effectively with more guys than I ever would have expected.
But ultimately, it's a flash in the pan type of success. You know, it's not about how can you simplify an offense and make your quarterback. How can you make it easy on
Well,
your
you
rookie
grow.
quarterback? How can a quarterback come in and make the complicated look easy? That is the long-term success for a team when you find that guy. Which guy is that in this draft? Everyone agrees that Trevor Lawrence fits that mold. Beyond that, who would you bet on? And to me, I think it's a wait and see. I don't think there's
I
a surefire. But we're talking about top 10 talents.
I agree. But Mahomes got a year to sit. That was obviously
Yeah.
beneficial. Allen started poorly, and
It took
he
to
had
year
the growth
three.
curve. He had the
Took
growth
2
curve
years.
that you expect for most quarterbacks, right? Herbert, that was a big surprise, I think. That's what you're looking to do. If you're a head coach in the league and you're drafting one of these guys, that's who you want your guy to be, right? Herbert, maybe you're trying to start him slow, but you're going to need him, and you're hoping, hey, I want my guy to have Justin Herbert's rookie year.
Coming up, we discuss Robinson at Ohio State. Also, we'll switch gears. The Predators at home tonight. They will face the Dallas Stars, a team. The next 5 games for the Preds, they've won, 7 of 8. They've won 5 of their last 5 games. Their next 5 opponents are all trailing them in the playoff standings. So a big stretch for a team that is red hot right now.
And it's been, days since they've seen Dallas. So
Well, it's back-to-back with Dallas, back-to-back with Detroit, right?
Yeah.
And Paul loves these back-to-back, seeing the same opponent over and over and over again.
That's all coming up on Outkick 360. Outkick 360 rolls on. It's official that the Outkick 360 gear, the shirt is neither pewter nor charcoal.
The other color I threw out there in the break is anthracite.
Anthracite.
It's also not anthracite, which is also known as gunmetal gray.
Maybe trilobite, as you see the the color there. Nonetheless, it's 40% off right now. Merch Madness going on at Outkick.com. Outkick.com. Click on Shop, and then all of the merch available 40% off, including Outkick 360 gear. 40% off. You see it there through the end of the month, which is through Wednesday evening. Outkick.com. And then click on Shop. Use the code Merch Madness for 40% off at checkout.
A brief respite for me after the Geico commercial fiasco. We're turning the attention to Chad, David. I believe
Paul's
this
been looking for this opportunity all day.
David.
Let's return
David,
what a name.
David, not to be mistaken with the band David and
The
David.
cousin of Tony, I believe. A lesser-known R&B
I
act.
believe this is from the YouTube chat, which I've been avoiding out of fear. Says the only thing more enraging than the tiny desks are those goofy brown shoes. He's talking about Chad's shoes. They must have sat on the shelf for years at Marshall's before he bought them. To which Eric Miller says light brown shoes are all the rage. Went to a gender reveal the other day. Everyone had shoes that color. Chad, your thoughts?
Well, let me start by saying these shoes are very woke and that they're gender neutral.
They're TJ
These
Maxx.
shoes are. Here's what's funny about the.
Put them up for the camera.
Here, yeah, I had them up a second ago as you were doing that. These are Cole Haans. I got these
Showing
at
us some
Nordstrom. These are not cheap shoes. Now, I own some very cheap shoes. I'm usually not one to spend a lot of money on shoes. I'm not going to reveal the exact price, but I'll tell you, these are not cheap shoes. Cole Haans from Nordstrom's. And here's what's funny about the criticism from, what's his name again? David?
David.
The criticism from David is really funny to me.
David.
Because I'm the most proud of my outfit every day of my shoes. So it's just really funny to me that someone has such an objection to these shoes.
How do you feel about your shoes?
I've been looking for shoes like this for a while that are very multi-purpose, and that they're almost like sneakers, but you can wear them with slacks, and they can wear as dress shoes. Also, very comfortable. Some of the most comfortable shoes I've ever had.
Can
Paul.
we get a shot
I'm
of these
very
shoes?
hard on shoes. I've got a
Dark
gait.
brown shoes for Paul.
I've got a gait that's very difficult on shoes, the way I walk. So I run through them quickly, and these are great. These are very comfortable.
Got a gait that is very difficult.
It is. I
David,
wear right
can we
through
tweet
them.
that out? I've
I
got
can
a
see
gait.
that.
G-A-I-T gait,
yeah.
by the way.
I see
He's
Chad
got
doing
a gait that is
Skechers
very
commercial soon.
difficult on shoes. I want to show these shoes. I hate brown shoes, and I finally found a pair of brown shoes that I like. I'm very pleased with these brown shoes.
This looks like a
I
shoe
got
that
them
David
at
would like.
David Parker Shoes in Cool Springs, which is a great local business that I want to mention. They're a fantastic store. But I have trouble with the orangey brown that you guys have. I can't pull it off.
This is really funny. I'm just now getting a glimpse of the screenshot.
David and David?
But the response above it from Darren Tate says, 100% Clay Major guy signed a non-compete, which is really funny.
We have zero non-compete.
Yeah, he didn't actually.
So
very good.
the
there it is. There was already. Put it back up there, Lance, if you will. There is the YouTube chat that we reference sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
David's the only man strong enough to withstand that.
Reed Hobby says, I just got a page not found error when I clicked on the Outkick shop link in the description. You should
pass that
email
on.
vip@outkick.com, and you can get information on that.
They're very quick at responding to
if you're having a problem.
such requests.
also, am I the only one that found it funny that David is enraged by our small desks? Enraged was the word.
Enraged. This guy is upset.
I mean, this man sits in his mansion, in his home office, with
kind
a
of-
$10,000 desk in his home office.
kind of mansions
for COVID
people with a
only.
double
May I speak
first name
directly to
have.
David right now?
Yes,
David,
Your
if
thoughts.
you would. Camera 3, thank you. David, if you were a man that's got some sort of expertise in woodworking or anything else,
Desk making.
carpentry, we would love it if you would construct a desk for us so that you can no longer be enraged We will allow you into the studio.
For measurements.
You can have this place over the weekend. You can build the desk
Bring
out.
in your circular
whatever
saw.
Whatever it is about this small desk that enrages you, that you want gone, we will fully allow you
Free
to
yourself.
build a desk for us that wraps around all three of us. That, on Outkick 360, is what we will allow just for you, David.
And
Please.
David could make a desk, could build a desk for Chad that would hide these shoes.
Yes. Or even just a desk for me. You know, these guys could be left out in the cold with just a small desk. If you want me to have a full desk so you don't have to see these beautiful Cole Haans that I'm showing the camera right now.
These very expensive shoes.
Again, yes. I don't spend a lot of money on clothes typically, and I'm so confident in these shoes is why it's so funny that David is enraged by my shoes, because it's literally the one thing I wear every day. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get these
good
shoes
about
out
these
there.
shoes.
I'm going to put them out where everybody can see them, because I'm very proud of these shoes. I think they look terrific. I also sit in a different style than you guys, where my shoes are more prominent because I put them on the desk. If you notice that, I sit them on the desk. That's just comfortable for me to sit that way. We all have a different way of sitting, so.
If I may, camera one, please.
Yes.
I want to speak to everyone except David, because I feel he's gotten a little bit too much attention here. And I feel like, David may not be a woodworker or carpenter at all. But there are many of you out there who probably are, who are equipped to make us the desk that we speak of. So I want to extend
Jesus was a carpenter.
Yes, he was. I want to extend
Just
the
being Holy
invitation
Week.
to all of our audience. I'm the one that's most encompassing. I love more of the people. Sarcasm. But please, I think this is a chance here. I haven't used this.
Hope it works.
If you would like to make us a desk, we would love it. As Chad said to David, I'll say to all of you, we're open this weekend. Come on in, measure, make a desk. We'll make it a contest. The Outkick 360 Desk Making Contest. Thank you.
We had a competition.
Also,
There you go. We had a competition to name the best draft analyst. Maybe we can have a carpenter competition now.
David's probably logged off by now. He's off to review the Little Nas X Nikes next. That's what he's doing now.
How dare you create
I don't
Satan
understand
shoes?
this. So Nike has nothing to do with it except that they're Nike shoes.
No, they're modeled after the Air Force 97s.
But who's making them?
It's a company that's like MGMTL. It's like
Satan
15
Shoemaker?
consonants is the name of the company. And now Nike's suing them because they invoked the name of the Nike Air Max 97 or
shoes.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Will
So
you
it's
be
not
getting
even-
these,
it's not
John?
even a
You don't
legitimate-
like to spend a lot of money on footwear, but this is a nice
So
pair
it's
of
not a
shoes.
Nike shoe.
It doesn't it just seem fake to you?
Is it
It's
a
all
Nike
store
shoe
for
that then they
talk.
didn't
They're
remodel?
modeling
Like
it
I'm not like.
Yeah, they're kind of
So-
imitating
Or is it a knockoff?
Here's my understanding, but we really need David to chime in on this
Yeah, he would
story
know.
because
Yeah.
David, get back in on
We
the
need
YouTube
someone with a
chat and
foot
let us
fetish
know
like
the full,
David
the full
to
story.
tell us.
Yes. Enraged by my Cole Haans, but not the Satan shoes, probably. So my understanding is this company is modeling shoes after the Nike Air Force 97 or Air Max 97, some shoe that was made in 1997.
Okay.
And they've created all
big
this
year for Satanists.
satanic imagery on it.
Yeah.
And they're
I know
putting
that
drops of human blood in
One
the
drop.
shoe.
1 drop per shoe.
And they're making, what, 666?
Is it 1 drop
sale?
per shoe or is it 1 drop per pair? This is an important question.
I think it's 1 drop per shoe, but again, I could be getting the details wrong. You can read all about it at Outkick. I'm sure there's stories up on Outkick about it, but that's my understanding with it. I initially, a buddy of mine sent me a link to the story, and my first reaction was, this has to be fake.
I thought so too.
There's no way this is a real thing that
Little
Nike
Nas
would be
X
behind.
is no Satan. This is a big changeover to go Satanist. I mean, he was a.
He's like our guy from Silicon Valley, who was a Satanist. Guilfoyle.
Guilfoyle. He's the most like Christian-friendly rapper, wasn't he? And now he's going full
Is he?
Satanist.
I don't know. I saw it and I thought he took a pair of Nikes and made it his
I
own.
think it would be tough to say that the homosexual rapper is the most Christian-friendly rap
Well,
artist.
there was something nice
going.
about him.
Well, that he
There
was,
was something-
Billy Ray Cyrus, that he did a collab with Billy Ray? Is that what's nice about
I
him?
don't know. And
There he is.
there's
There they
the
are.
Picture. Look at him.
Yeah, that's a disturbing picture.
Now,
So-
what
But
was
he
his,
clearly,
what was his hit song?
he hasn't
The
come
big
out
song?
in defiance of this, right? Like Nike sued them. We've seen the lawsuit with Nike wanting to take them off of that. So he's clearly behind this. He's okay with it.
Clearly, I mean, he's posing
Oh,
with
yeah.
it. He's clearly behind it.
I've
just don't-
lectured on this young man before. Isn't his song "Can't Nobody Tell Me Nothing"?
Yes.
This is a terrible message for American youth. He went from the worst message he could give all the way to Satanism. Can't nobody tell me nothing. My kids walking around singing "Can't Nobody Tell Me Nothing." I said everybody can tell you something.
It's a
You can
weird
learn from
market to
everybody.
corner.
And now you're going to wear Satan shoes.
Just from a marketing standpoint, Paul, don't you agree? It's a very strange. If we're looking at just
Look, we're
monetarily,
looking at each other behind Hutton.
yes,
Sorry.
it's a very strange thing to try to corner the satanic market if you're trying to sell shoes. Like once you brand yourself a Satanist, there's really no coming back. He's not going to go to General Motors next.
No, but
with
other-
his next idea, and they're not going to endorse him. Like you've drawn a tight circle around what you can do from that point forward.
Also, all for 666 pairs of shoes. But are the Satanists
Well, the
looking-
shoes are like $2,000.
I know,
also.
but are the Satanists looking for some kind of mainstream thing? Hey, what we really need is a mainstream pair of sneakers here that gets written about in the New York Times.
we
like-
finally got that Haagen-Dazs flavor we've wanted for so long.
Right. I don't understand why you want to dip your toe in that water and then go back into your like exclusive
Satan's red sorbet.
exclusive club where you're kind of unseen.
Yeah,
A bizarre story.
It's a weird venture.
V-Love on Twitter says Withrow handling the shoe criticism much better than Paul handled the shirt fiasco.
I said I was wrong.
Oh, the
the
shirt.
shirt fiasco. I thought it was going. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, the
shirt
question
fiasco.
is,
I
will
was a
Chad
song
wear the
written
shoes
about
tomorrow?
Yeah, that's-
If he does, he's handled it much better than Paul handled the master shirt.
I'm wearing
fiasco.
these
I gotta
puppies
wear the
every day
shirt.
until they don't work anymore.
I'm going to wear the shirt.
I'm gonna wear the soles off these bad boys.
Let me say to
they're gonna be
V-Love-
worn out. There's gonna be a hole in the bottom of them. See the bottom of these?
Yeah.
Until there's a hole in the bottom of these, I'm wearing these bad
Paul,
boys.
do
Let
you
me
think
say to
over-
V-Love and everyone
Yeah.
with concerns about the master shirt, there is a plan next week for the master shirt.
It's back.
Don't think that we're not thinking.
Over under $130 for these shoes that Chad's wearing. I don't know.
Now, what was he saying that he? Yeah, I'm saying.
I'm gonna say over.
Slightly over.
I'm gonna say over 130, guys. Lance, over under 130.
Think over. I'm
Over.
hoping I'm at 110.
$110 for the pair.
He's not going to tell us.
Reed's gonna give a thumbs up or thumbs down for over under $130.
This is almost as fun as is this Nate Oates' daughter?
Will it float?
He's
Another
voting
thing.
under $130.
Reed votes under. Reed, what would you spend on a pair of shoes that look kind of like this?
75.
$75. Chad, over under.
Big thumbs.
Hutton, you are
I'm going over.
correct.
Okay.
It's over. They're over. I'll
Worth-
stop it there.
Hey,
They're
it-
not Satan shoes level expensive, but
over
they're-
$130. That means he's wearing these every single day.
Yeah, he's
and
getting his money's
rightfully
worth out
so.
of it. He could go home and tell Angie he's out on those shoes, and she would say, "You are wearing those shoes every day."
I love these shoes. David's
I
not
do
going to
too.
stop me from loving these shoes.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Welcome to the boom
Oh,
town.
Patrick on Twitter, who
David,
Patrick,
David.
if you remember, chimed in on our first day, Hutton, and his wife was a big fan of your crotch shots
yeah,
that you were
yes.
delivering for the audience.
man spread.
Patrick came out to the watch party.
Yeah.
I did a video for him.
It was
Great
great
guy.
meeting
Oh,
him
we
at
did
the
a video.
Outkick VIP party.
Season ticket holder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Season ticket holder of
What's he
Outkick
got to say
360.
now?
He says, Chad, your shoes got almost as much of a positive reaction from the missus as Hutton's groin cam did. So there's that.
So she's into your shoes, your groin, and we're
Well,
awaiting feedback
let's-
from me.
let's be honest,
So I
I'm-
made her the video.
I'm way more interested in what Mrs. Parham thinks about my shoes than David thinks about the shoes.
There you go.
So that's good
Because
news.
David has really gotten good press out of this
Yes.
show. I mean, he should be a lifer now.
I hope
if
he's
you
still
haven't
in the
rated
chat.
us on Apple, you owe us.
I hope he's still in the chat.
Thumbs up on YouTube. Hook us. Come make us a desk also.
Paul Robinson is at Ohio State's Pro Day. You think they could be looking at some of the defensive guys that are there? Certainly, it's certainly not Justin Fields.
I mean, they've
It's
got-
not Trey Sermon at running back, or at least I wouldn't think so.
No. They've got a lot of talent all the time. What are there, 11 guys there, I think, that are
Could also be offensive linemen. There's a few second-round offensive linemen, potentially late first-rounders that are at Ohio State too. That's what you want as an offensive lineman in the first round.
I'm
right?
not going to react well to an offensive lineman. And they've got 4 picks in the top 100, including those 2 threes.
Got to get right tackle
If
right
one
this
of
time.
those is spent on an offensive lineman, I'm not going to take it well.
Best available player. Best
I'm
available.
not going to take it well. I'm not going to take it well.
The Preds continue, we hope they do, continue their hot streak and this playoff push. They will face the Dallas Stars tonight Red hot goaltending for the Preds. Can they keep the momentum going? If they do, we're talking about a playoff caliber team. They're already right now, they are dead. They're in the postseason if the season were to end today. They are facing teams chasing them. The crucial stretch now of whether or not they get in takes place right at the trade deadline coming up, in 2 weeks. And we find out if they're for real or not with the hot goaltending that should continue against Dallas.
I think big picture for the Preds is very interesting right now because this run has been great. There's all positive with what they've been able to do, but getting in the back end of the playoffs, if they're able to accomplish that, and losing a first-round series, is that enough with this roster in this direction to think, okay, a couple of tweaks and you're really good? And then you don't completely reset and blow things up at that point. That to me is the big picture question.
I think they'd probably celebrate getting in after.
Well, they should celebrate it at this
were.
point compared to where they were.
Yeah.
That would be a celebration.
It's been a great turnaround. It's extremely important for John Hines that he showed that his team is capable of doing this.
I don't want to be a part of a city celebration of the Predators getting into the playoffs because they resurrected their season, which kind of whitewashes how poor they were up until 8 games ago when they should have played a lot better.
You know where I stand, though. They still need to make changes.
Yes.
But are they capable of making the proper changes and adjustments to this roster that are necessary while also continuing to be a playoff caliber team? Because it's imperative that they do that coming off the COVID year where they're running that building that has been sitting empty. And they have a lot of fans who have those season tickets available for the next 3-year stretch that they need to opt in for. They need to produce a winning product and continue to show that they're headed down that same path and not just going to crater out with a coach that's in way over his head that was fired previously that they hired for Peter Laviolette, who took them to a Stanley Cup. This is crucial for them to show that they're headed in the right direction, but can they do 2 things at once?
I don't
Can they
see
build for the future
why not.
and win at a level that puts them in the postseason?
I don't see why not. Why can't you navigate that? I think too many.
Well, they're
people,
doing it right now.
I know. I think too many people feel like it's go all the way or implode, and like we've come to this place in sports, professional sports, where it's like all or nothing.
Right.
There are teams who successfully navigate through the transition without becoming terrible.
And it starts.
And why can't they do that?
And it's starting at goaltending.
They
are getting
959 save percentage over the last
goaltending.
8 games from Pekka and Saros. 2.3, this is from Adam Vingan at The Athletic, 2.3 forecheck chances per game, up over this period from 1.3, which is great. That's second in that period over the league in the past 2 weeks. That's a significant jump in those 2 categories.
We give you our picks through FanDuel that we'll be placing tonight. We hope you'll follow along there. That's straight ahead. Plus, Chad takes all of your foot fetish requests on Outkick 360.
All of them.
More David and David.
Coming to you from Studio G in Nashville, Tennessee, Blackbird Studios, our location each and every day, theblackbirdacademy.com, the spot to go check out if you're interested in going to school for your passion in audio. Over 14,000 square feet of rehearsal space for this state-of-the-art recording studio. Theblackbirdacademy.com is where you can go to school for this. For studio engineering and audio production on the road, you pick your course at theblackbirdacademy.com. Guys, tonight, 2 more teams added to conclude the 4 that will be in the Final Four in Indianapolis. As we check out the FanDuel.com/OK360 lines, you can see big favorites, and we're headed in the direction of Gonzaga and Michigan. Houston and Baylor, 2 teams already in the Final Four. Gonzaga tonight tips off first. You see the tip-off time of 6:15 Central, 7:15 Eastern. 9-point favorite there. 6.5-point favorite for Michigan. I say lay the points. I say you take the points and you roll with the 2 favorites to make the number 1 seeds collide in the Final Four.
I'm with you, Hutton. I'm going with Gonzaga to cover, and I'm going with Michigan to cover. The 2 games I really want to see now in this tournament, Gonzaga, Michigan, Gonzaga, Baylor. I think we get those 2 games in the Final Four, and I think that's what it's setting up to happen starting tonight.
How's your dad's bracket looking?
My dad is in the 97th percentile nationally out of 16.5 million brackets through, I think, ESPN. He is 90, I think he's in the 70,000, no, I take that back, like 50,000 rank.
So he's got 3 1s and a 2. So a lot of people probably have 3 1s and a 2. It's a matter of how well he did in the internal stuff.
Did you have Oregon State going on a run?
No, he had Oregon State losing in the first round.
So that's one of the ones he didn't.
If not for that, I think he would have a shot to win the bracket.
Unbelievable.
Because them advancing as far as they did wiped him out of 3 rounds of games on that one bottom right corner of the bracket. Everything else is practically green across his back, which is
phenomenal.
I've never seen anything like it because I certainly threw mine away on air 2 weeks ago. Or last week, but
it's terrific. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Really good.
That's awesome.
Do we have
it's just bragging rights?
We have what I sent you, Jacob.
Oh, that picture?
Yeah.
Jacob is going to the computer. I don't know what Paul sent.
I sent a little something for David that I
Oh,
want to get up on screen before we wrap up. So Jacob will let us know what he has.
Is it the scoop?
No,
Oh, there it is.
yeah.
tonight, by the way, Mick Cronin with the chance to right a lot of wrongs because the one criticism with him is he has not made a big run in the postseason. We could see him advance to the Final Four. Also, Juwan Howard, in his first NCAA tournament as a head coach, could advance to the Final Four.
I can't wait to see Mick Cronin's dad. That's what we all know. That's what I'm
Paul,
looking for.
If you know Paul, you know that he shows up for the human interest stories at all times, and that's what he's going to be doing tonight with Mick Cronin's dad.
Will they show Mick Cronin's father within the first 90 seconds of the game?
Absolutely.
They have to, right? It's like a prereq.
Now I'd like to present a gift to David, and all the admirers of Chad's shoes. This is from Zappos, the website. And you can simply go here to purchase them. We now know. I'm told that Chad hit the under on this price.
Well,
was it by 1 cent?
Yeah,
$1.49.99.
$149.99.
Well, by Price is Right rules.
You can get it at Nordstrom for $149. If you want to beat that by a cent and not pay the shipping, you can go to Nordstrom.
It wasn't Merch Madness
free
there.
shipping. Zappos is free shipping. And you can get them to send you 2 sizes. You try on the 2 sizes and you send back the one you don't like. Also free.
How do we not have a deal with Cole Haan by now? That's what I want to know. I feel like everyone here should have Cole Haans by the end of the day.
Yeah, if you didn't get the screen capture on that, I'll be tweeting that out right at the end of the show. So everybody can jump on those shoes if you want them. I think they also come in black. I don't know.
They do.
Did you get 2?
You know what else they come in? Pewter. Believe it or not, they have a
Charcoal
version. Yeah.
Outkick
pewter.
360 gear now available. You
That's
can go
not
to
available.
Outkick.com, click on the shop tab. It takes you directly to all of the Outkick gear, and you can see the Outkick 360 gear there. 40% off with the code MerchMadness.
Great Twitter interaction today. Remember, you can always interact with us on that format on social media at Outkick360. Jordan informs us that the Satan shoes are priced at $1,018 a pair in reference to Luke 10:18, which says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. More
1,018.
Satan shoes
And now they're
information.
getting sued for it.
I
Somebody-
still have a hard time believing this is real.
Somebody do the math for us on how many pair of Cole Haans that's equal to. This is for the Satan shoes.
We are back at it tomorrow. Hope you'll join us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can watch us live. You can listen to us, Fox Sports Knoxville, and of course you can find the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast 24/7, including on Apple. We hope you'll like and subscribe there. Leave us a review, leave us a rating. We appreciate you on that. Until then, hit us up on Twitter at Outkick360.
Kindly don't block the box, but do lock the locks. See ya.